All right, we're back with another in our series um, talking about this is 1982 uh, UFO reports and sightings and incidents, different ones from 1982. Um, these are a series of videos where I go by different years, um, starting with 1982 to now. I was doing 1955, I'm just picking some random years. 1982 was the year I was born, so thought this would be kind of interesting as well. Um, let's see what we got for this video. We have a case from Utah, Monticello, Utah. I'm not exactly sure what the date was, but we were sleeping out on the lawn. Saw an object zigzagging across the sky. It would appear to move great distances in a split second. It would move and appeared to hover and spin. It had three lights you could see when it was hovering and spinning. Then it would zip across the sky, made approximately 4 or 5 high-speed passes in all directions when it flew over the Blue Mountains and was gone. To this day, never seen anything else like it. Wow. That was like for like a minute. He saw it for like a minute. That's really cool. How cool, though, would that be? And we don't have nothing like that. We don't have no technology like that. And this is back in 1982, mind you. Definitely not back then. Nothing could do that. That was man-made. Wow. Zigzagging across the sky, and it would appear to move great distances in a split second. I've heard people have told me about things like that they've seen too. Very similar to this, really. It would move and it appeared to hover and spin. Man, that's a good one. I believe them too. All right, we have. Let's try this New Jersey case here. Report. Duration 13 hours. Number of observers 11. Ooh. Okay. So a mass sighting. Lakewood, New Jersey of 1982. No one else remembered leaving for the entire day, was the synopsis. Oh, missing time report here. The sphere came down almost close enough to touch it. Oh, as we waited, time to go to recreation at about 8:30 that morning. My girlfriend said, "I'm going to get my camera." By the time she turned around, it was about 9 p.m. The stars were out. No one else remembered except a neighbor who stated that she saw the craft come down. She saw everyone standing quietly, dazed, and going home. I was excited and talking frantically. No one else remembered. They kept coming back? I don't know. That's all to that one. I don't know. I wish there was more to that, like more description there. That's interesting though. We got one from Florida. Let's see. Oh. Let's see here. Softball-sized bright chrome ball on ground that seemed to be brightly lit from the inside. That's the synopsis. What? Interesting. That's interesting. I was on a bike ride and noticed what I thought was a bright flashlight em- laying on the embankment in a ditch. I stopped to retrieve this so-called flashlight, but as I approached it at about 7 or 8 feet, I realized it looked more like a chrome softball with a very bright light inside. The object wobbled back and forth a couple of times, rose about 4 feet off the ground, hovered for a couple of seconds, then took off very fast, all without making a sound. It frightened me, and I didn't tell anyone about it for years. This happened in 1982 or 1983, but I think about it often. I just came across this website and decided to report it. What in the world? It's from Tallahassee, Florida. The duration it lasted about 20 seconds. I don't know what to think about that. Um, I don't know, but pretty interesting for sure. So, okay. All right. Oh, this is a longer one. This is from Missouri. Um, Duration 20 minutes. Number of observers 2. Marshall, Missouri. A large light a long time ago is the synopsis. Okay. Well, let's see here what happened. You may not be interested in something so long ago. Oh, well, I sure am. I like the older stories are my favorites personally. My uncle emailed me this site and asked me to send this to you. I had an experience as a young teenager that was quite amazing. My brother and I was at my grandparents' small farm playing in the driveway when we saw a large light to the east in the sky, approximately the distance that you would spot a small aircraft. It was a large and distinct light that stopped us in our tracks to stare. As we stared at the light, it slowly made its way to the north, not changing distance or altitude. We watched as it made its way from due east to due north. As we continued to stare, it started to appear as though it was coming towards us. The light continued to come closer and yet did not change mass, but became remarkably close. When the light stopped approaching, it was approximately 50 yards from where we were standing. Oh. It was directly behind a mature pecan tree, and the light was as large as the entire tree. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So it's a large light. All right, let's keep going. It stayed in that position for at least 5 minutes and then slowly started to back away. As it was backing away, it was gaining altitude. When it got back to the distance it was before approaching us, it started to go upwards, and we watched it disappear into the distance in approximately 30 seconds. The light did not make any noise, nor did it create any shadows or brighten the area around it or where we were. I would guess the experience lasted at least 20 to 30 minutes. We, of course, told our grandparents, and odd enough, it took little to convince them of what we had seen. My grandfather told us that his neighbor had lived about a fourth of a mile to the south and had described the exact experience that happened to him, only at an earlier date. I have not heard of anyone else having a similar experience in that area or any area for that matter ever since. I, of course, have no idea what it was, but maybe you have heard of an experience like this before. I have heard of people sighting things, seeing things that they could not explain, but for something that came that close and was that distinct for such a long period of time was nothing short of amazing. I give you my assurance that this was no hoax or made-up event. It has been an event that has been discussed amongst my family for over 20 years, which is why my uncle asked me to send this to you. Wow. So, it was like so not that we don't know the color of it. So they saw a large light, as large and distinct, that stopped us in our tracks to stare. Well, definitely would. And it came close to them, like it was 50 yards away at the closest, I guess. And that it stopped too, like, didn't it? Like, and it stayed in that position for 5 minutes and then slowly started to back away. What could this have been? He said the light was pretty big because it was as large. How big is a mature pecan tree? He said it was as large as the whole tree. So I'm assuming it's pretty big. So I'm assuming that's pretty big. But that's a good one. That is from Marshall, Missouri. And let's see if we have time to do another one. Yeah, we can close with this one. It's Rock Hill, South Carolina. Long cigar-shaped UFO is the synopsis. I got a real good look at this cigar-shaped UFO. It was a hot summer evening and I had just finished supper with my parents. As I left their home to go back to my apartment, I had come up to this stop sign to take a right turn. I was 5 minutes from their home. I made a right turn and looked over in this field to my right that had cattle in it. I looked up and saw this round light, greenish milky white. It was a greenish milky white light. Okay. I stopped. Okay. I looked up and saw this round light. It was a greenish milky white light. Huh. I stopped my car and thought to myself, what in the world is that? That's exactly what I would say. I leaned over toward my passenger seat and just watched to see what it was going to do. It was about 50 to 75 feet off the ground and looked like a long cigar with no wings or tail. And was dark colored with a round light on the front. Okay, it had a light on, like a flashlight would have. Okay, so it did have a light on the front of it. No wings or like tail. What the heck? As I kept As I kept my eyes on it, I could see what appeared to be heat coming off the sides of it, and it had a faint humming sound. Plus, it kind of vibrated as it was moving. It was moving really slow. Anyway, I couldn't take my eyes off of it, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared right before my eyes. Like the blink of an eye, it was gone. I thought to myself then, where did it go? So then I turned my car around and came back to my parents' house to tell them what I had seen. They told me that they have never seen a UFO, but there could be some out there. So I left and started back home and decided to stop at the people's house who owned that piece of property to tell them what I had seen. I wanted them to know in case something had happened to any of their cattle. Well, finally, when I got home and ready for bed, because I had to go to work in the next morning, I heard this humming, buzzing sound over the top of my apartment building. Uh-oh. Let me guess. It's back. I thought to myself, oh no, that UFO followed me home. I grabbed my little dog and covered both of us up with the covers. I was scared then. Well, the next 3 days, I was in a complete daze. I felt really weird, like I wasn't altogether there. After the third day of being in a fog, I awoke in the middle of my sleep and sat up in my bed and kind of screamed. After I screamed, I saw this bright light flash across my bedroom, and right out the window it went. I was back to normal. The foggy feelings I was experiencing had left me. Okay. I don't know what to make of that one. I don't know. um, I don't know if we should end with that one or not. All right, let's end with this one. Ontario, Canada. Oxdrift, Ontario. We'll end with this one. I saw something in the sky one night when I was a child, and I do not know what it could have been. I was a small girl at the time this occurred. My sister and I were jumping a skip rope on the patio deck. It was a summer night and the air was partly cloudy. There were stars above us. When it happened, I was not too sure of what to make of it. I pointed up to the bright white light that seems to creep out of the clouds. I pointed up to the bright white light, that seemed to creep out of the clouds and hover above the treetops. It hovered there. I remember saying to my sister, "What is that?" And it seemed that my arm froze mid-air, and I am unable to say if lots of time went by. That's the confusing part. I do not know what happened at the time. It seems to have what happened at the time. It seems to have been a normal thing, but thinking back now, it seems a bit odd to have been unable to move. When I was able to move, I saw it creep back into the cloud and rest behind there while we were freaking out. Being small children, we rushed back into the house and told our mother to come outside and look at what we saw. The light glowed from behind the clouds and seemed to move. No one could make out what it really was. It is a mystery today. However, throughout my life, after that night, I have had many strange things that have happened to me. My sister refused to discuss that night. Huh. Says the shape was like a disc-shaped bright white light. That's a really good one, though. If it's true, I mean, that's a good one. Number of observers were 2. They observed it for about 15 minutes. Yeah, that's a really good one. We'll end with that one for now. As always, let me know what you think of um, these sightings. And I will be back with more videos from. I'll be back with more UFO sighting videos from 1982 and others shortly. Thank you for watching.